I mean, again, as a hip hop fan and as a person who respects New York hip hop and some of my favorite MCs and albums and musics from there, I mean, it's only so much I can do. But it's like the people in New
Look,
York got to be upset by this.
look, and with that said, let's go transition to another legend that they're not supporting. Kool G Rap dropped an album last Friday.
Well, here it is. Here's the track list. Kool G Rap. What stood out with you from this last of a dying breed album from Kool G Rap?
I'm going to tell you what the overall sentiment was, and we weren't planning on having most of these conversations we had today. We did not plan on having, and
No,
that's the
no.
beautiful thing about this show. We kind of got to be ready to vacillate with it. But and I already have this written down. But now that we've had the radio conversation, this album for me, and even more so after the radio conversation, I said this is an observational clinical case study of why guys like G Rap, KRS-One, Rakim, like that whole crop. Well, they tour more than they record because what can a guy like G Rap do? I realized when I was listening to this album, if they're not gonna let Nas fit in, how the fuck is Kool G Rap gonna fit in? This is exactly what I was talking about. Like, where's there room for really Kool G Rap to get the flowers that he deserves when he makes a quality project like this? Now, this album isn't stellar, but it is good, and it has some moments on here because it's Kool G Rap, so it's gonna have some moments. Now, I'll tell you what. The one thing that maybe disappointed me about this album some was that I kind of felt like the highlights had guest appearances for the most part, with the exception of a record, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not used to that from Kool G Rap because he is more than capable of handling his own. But that's part of the reason why I ended up in the frame of mind that I was in about the album, is because I realized it's like, well, what is Kool G Rap doing making a song with Nims? It's like he always works with the younger cats. But then I realized somebody like G Rap has to work with the younger cats, like to keep his buzz relevant in his city because New York's not going to play him.
Mad
So he
Max
has
loves the album.
no. It's a dope album.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what. It's just it's got more help than maybe you're used to for somebody of Kool G Rap's caliber. Most of the songs that you find yourself liking are the guest appearances. But there's some stuff on there. I'm gonna tell you one thing that I noticed: Kool G Rap has gotten better with hooks over time
I
because he's
saw
always
Mad
been a
Max say
supreme
something I
lyricist.
want to address real quick, not to cut you off. He
No, please go
said
ahead.
Kool G Rap is too old for radio, but radio is for old people, right? Young people ain't
You
listening
see
to
the
radio.
problem? You see the problem? That's what I mean. Where can Cool G Rap fit in? Because when he's making some of these songs, I'm like, well, this is him trying to carve out his older niche, which is good. And much like happens, I think it's happening right now with Cormega's album,
Yeah.
AZ's album last year, all of Nas's projects. Well, is New York radio going to play this and support this? Because it's going to be hard for this to get legs when you don't want to take care of home. But there's some dope stuff on here. First of all, Fly Till I Die with Cool G rapping Big Daddy Kane still sounds as
Yeah.
good right now as it did when I first heard it. That's holding up. I thought that was that song to me is kind of like a sleeper song of the year contender. Like that might sneak into our top 20 list because it's Kane and G Rap, and that's a borderline verse of the year contender from Kane too.
Yeah.
Um, Born Hustler with AZ and 38 is nice.
I love 38 and Kool G Rap together.
They sound good. Well, he sounds like he's influenced by Cool G Rap because he is,
Mm-hmm.
like everybody else. He's inspired everybody from Nas down to 38, So ain't too many people he hadn't touched. Um, there's something about beat wise what people from Cool G Rap's era hear. You know what I'm saying? And so I don't love some of these production choices.
I think that was my gripe on it too.
And I'm going to tell you exactly where that's coming from too. And this is more plug talk. Well, you know how much this shit costs to get a track from such and such Coop, and it's like you think, she like Nas paying out of pocket when he paying, and so look at Nas's situation, and this is what I mean, and then toggle down, even though it's his forefather, and you know what I'm saying, and go to Cool G Rap and realize it's like, well, this is still a money talks and bullshit walks kind of game. Cool G Rap ain't never been a big seller, never been on radio like that. You feel what I'm saying? You got to pay for the production, Mike. You got to pay to put these things together. Kool G Rap putting these projects together himself. And so you're more likely going to find yourself working with younger, hungrier dudes at a better price point. But sound-wise, you might be missing
Well, a
something.
lot
You
of
know
the
what I mean?
times too, and when you're doing it in this fashion, and I don't know what this label situation's like, you got to clear these samples yourself,
Like,
and that's
like
different.
this is what I mean is like something like Diesel. it's like, oh, what do you have to give Alchemist for that beat? That need to be on here. You feel me? Like you need to try to get your money's worth out of that because I know you had to give Al some money for that track, you know.
Right.
And so some of the production issues that I hear going on now, and I'm not saying this like niggas is broke. I'm saying it like niggas ain't trying to go broke making a rap album. Like Kool G Rap ain't trying to go pay 150 grand for this or 300 grand. Like you know what I'm saying,
No,
brother?
no.
50.
Listen, nobody's trying to put money into something that's not going to give you a return on your investment. It don't matter how much money you got.
Right. Like
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell you something. The plug told me when Metro album dropped. She was like, "Oh, she was like, ain't no telling what the weekend cost. Metro better drop that as a single. He don't have a choice for what
Yeah.
the weekend cost. You
I
feel
mean, I
me?
said that when I heard the album. I was like, yeah, I mean, you get the weekend on the record. It's got to be the single because,
Yeah.
yeah, you're not going to have him on an album song.
You gonna pay that nigga 500 grand to do what? Not for to not release it as a
To
single
not
for it
get
to be a
radio
great
play,
album
right?
track?
Yeah.
No, you need to go make your money back. And so some of the things that I hear, like, because I heard some people talk about AZ's production last year on Do or Die 2 and how they didn't enjoy that as much as well, which I didn't agree with. I thought that those were nice selections. That's some of the money game that's getting played where it's like, oh, well, you want him to go get 5 tracks from Alchemist or Pete Rock or Derringer or even some tracks. Oh, no, that shit costs. Like, don't you think that if Kool G Rap could go get every beat from somebody like a Havoc or Q-Tip who were from Queens, he would? You feel
Well,
what
I
I'm
think
saying?
that's why we're seeing a lot of MCs teaming up with producers because you're able to kind of work out things a little
Mm-hmm.
bit better because it's like, okay, now we're a group and we're just
Mm-hmm.
splitting things down evenly. That's a lot more attractive for both parties now as opposed to, having to give individual people, money for tracks, right? You know what I mean? Like it's it's more feasible to just do this as a group and we just split it down the middle as opposed to me having to get 5 or 6 different producers and paying them out of pocket. And because, like you said, in today's time, we're really not seeing residuals in the way like people used to be, talking real old school now, but albums, producers used to get points off of an album, off of the album sales. You have the percentage broken down by how much money this actual producer was making per album sold for this album. You don't have any of that anymore. So now you kind of have a barter system in a sense. And that's why we're seeing a lot of rappers and producers teaming up and just finding ways to kind of just split it down the middle anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Which I think is better for the music. But, in situations like this, yeah, you're right. This is why you see such a
It's
big
making for
difference.
better teamwork and chemistry and synergy is what it's doing because
Right.
well it's kind of like I hate to say it it's like well rap is kind of like in some like good times era like the show Good Times era where it's like it's gotten really hood and the money's gotten slender again and that forces families to kind of get together and bond tighter
It's the
and
80s
so
again.
yeah, so I think that some of what we're seeing from the music, and I mean, and this is one of those things that gets revealing when you're talking to somebody like the plug who is younger than me and you know what I mean? Like she's in her 20s, but is also on the inner workings on the industry on a level that you're not. She's really exposed to me how much the radio, the media, and the money is really making the shit move. Like not on a conspiracy level, like you may think, but definitely on a business and financial and economic cycle level,
Right.
like you think, and it's real. It's very, very real. Like you don't understand. It's like sometimes you don't understand. You're not hearing your favorite rapper from your childhood come out because it's why would they go spend 3, 4, 500 grand, $1 million to make an album when they can just go tour with the shit that they've already done and go make $1 million instead of spending it.
Exactly.
That's what Nas is doing. Is so incredible. You understand this motherfucker don't supposed to be doing this right now. It's incredible when somebody cares enough because part of the reason why you don't hear from your favorites like you used to or like you want to, well, it's a money thing and not like they broke, but it's like, what type of businessman do you know wants to go spend $1 million instead of go make $1 million?
Exactly. And they're fortunate enough that they came up in an era where they were able to make songs that would be classic by, today's standards because radio gave those songs that breathing room to be in your head. It's not like here today, gone tomorrow, like today's climate. It's going to be very tough for people in this era to make classics that stand as long as a song like a children's story. And the people who came up in the 80s and the 90s, they have the privilege of being able to be a part of that. And like you said, they can tour on that for the rest of their lives, really.
Mm-hmm.
And, and making new music is I mean, you could do it for fun or whatever, but you don't. You're only gonna put so much into it because, like you said, they'll probably get back doing a show more than they would from putting together a full album.
Yes. And so here's what I will submit to you. And you and I have been told, you got told this before. Nas makes music to make sure he never has to get on the Elder Rap Tour circuit. Like that's what part of this Hit Boy run's been about. He doesn't want that fate. Like he's watched that fate for the people that he looked up to. Because I'm going to tell you exactly what I realized, and this is what I mean about the feature run. And I thought about this today, and I thought about all these guys. But I'm gonna start with Kane. If I was Kane, I would never make an album ever again.
Yeah.
You are the greatest live performer hip hop has ever seen. If we're combining vocals, dance moves, star ability, women being attracted to you, the actual delivery, the voice. No, Kane. Okay? Why would a guy like that, with that type of stature and that type of legend, who inspired guys like Biggie or Jay, go spend money making an album where if he wanted to stay current, he would be better served to go do a feature run and get paid?
And mind you, after you make the album, you gotta chase these New York radio niggas down to support your shit that should be
Support
supporting it
Big
off
Daddy
top.
Kane.
Nobody wants to deal with
Yeah,
that.
think about this. Kane and G Rap are older than Nas. You think Nas ain't trying to run around and fuck with radio and chase them down for? You think Kane and G Rap want to? They like, nigga, you won't even have a radio station if ain't no half
It's
step and come on the radio in
disrespectful.
'88.
It's
It's
disrespectful.
disrespectful as hell.
Yeah.
So here's what I would submit, and I've thought about this, and this is more plug talk too. The craziest thing that I heard from her in all of this dialogue that we've had, in the chat with other people and behind the scenes on our own private thread at times, she asked them if Nas should do a feature run, and the fans said no. And that is literally the dumbest shit I have ever heard you give an elder statesman advice on. I've realized in this whole time that part of what's going to make the older rapper viable again is the feature run. And when I mean older, I don't even mean, I mean older. I don't even mean elder statesman. Like Nas, G Rap, and Kane are officially elder statesmen. Even Nas, even if he doesn't want to be grouped with them, he's an elder statesman compared to these other guys. He's OG. It's OG talk now. You feel me?
Mm-hmm.
But Mike, Lil Wayne, Resurgence, started with the feature run.
Yeah.
The way we talking about Cole right now, feature run. These ain't even elder statesmen anymore. They're just older now. Look at what the feature run's doing for them. And so I would encourage.
And when you don't do a feature run, you could do what Kendrick did. That happens. No, I'm saying, like, I don't think that if he were actually out here in practice doing what Cole's doing, I think the momentum for his album would have been different, and I think the product would have been different. I think that a lot of the times, at least, from what I've always seen, you could hear from the feature run a build up to what an artist is about to do.
No,
you know what I mean?
Plans. No. See, there might be a little red hair, and Nas may have showed us the way a little bit again with it. You see, what I'm saying is that, well, look at what he just did with 21. That's the new cash out for the older rap artists, Mike.
You're right.
Like that's the shit that
get
G-Rap,
somebody in the system.
Pimp this, like you're the GOAT. You're one of the GOATs. You're a legend in this system. You're in the matrix. Like Kool G Rap and Big Daddy Kane and KR, your blueprints are all over this matrix.
Mm-hmm.
All you got to do, stick your hand deeper down into the matrix and go pull out one of those young guys that's currently running the system. Because how about this? Listen to what I'm saying. Why does a song with 21 Savage, at least in terms of what it does for the climate and for the media and for Nas's push, cause more effect and change than a classic rap album he just made, or an arguable classic rap album he just made? You get what I'm saying? It's like, so you're telling me Nas just spent all this money to make KD3 and to do like all of this, and really all he had to do was a song with 21? It's like, you feel me? And so imagine,
I think it happened the way it needed to happen.
So listen. Imagine Nas on Metro Boomin album. Let's say the Migos come back together -1 next year. Imagine hearing Nas on something like that. A Boogie's new album. You know, I know Nas is supposedly going to come on the Conway and stuff like that, but that's what I'm starting to look at, and that's what I would encourage our elder statesmen to do, is to reach out to these younger guys that really love you, that respect you, that are really popping, and do your feature run through them. It'll give you some money. It'll give you some chart position. It'll give you some clout, again, in the current climate, and you don't have to spend your money making an album, and you're already all-time great. Like, I'm perfectly okay if I hear like 5 to 10 Big Daddy Kane verses a year and don't hear album. What about you? He's Kane.
I'm with you. And I think with hip hop being 50 next year, I think that's going to be a great year for those things to happen, specifically for Nas. Well, let's get up out of here, man. We covered some real heavy stuff today. Great show.
Yeah, we got this. We haven't had a show like this in a minute. I felt like where we just like really got it in.
Nah, this was fun. All right, well, we're going to holler at y'all
You know
Friday.
what, you said it when you texted me earlier. You're like, we're going to have fun today. And I was thinking to myself, what the hell made Mike say that? But we did.
We did. A lot of this wasn't even on the radar, but you know.
Yeah, just real quick wrap up. I want everybody to be supporting all the things that we're doing. Our writer, Denim has a great article out on our website about mental health awareness that I'd love everybody to check out. I talked to Denim. Denim's going to come on the show, Mike, so we just need to work out some time.
Cool.
So we want y'all to meet our new lead senior writer, Denim. She's thoughtful, exciting, poignant, beautiful, talented, all the above. Looking forward to y'all meeting her. We got some station heads coming up, hip hop yearbooks coming up. Mike got top fives floating. We got the week according to hip hop. We have the Patreon show on Monday. Y'all still need to subscribe to. It's getting more and more fun by the day. If you were on this show this past Monday, like, you got to see my life. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got the music and you got my life live. Like, you got to catch me take my daughter to her Christmas party. You got to catch me riding to the South Side, dealing with traffic. Mike playing Kendrick while I'm on Campbellton Road. Subscribe to our Patreon. And shout out to my homie Lou Screw, who we're putting stuff together. And subscribe to my new page, Coop is Problematic.
Yep.
Coop from According to Hip Hop presents Coop is Problematic. We're going to have some stuff coming soon. Me and Mike are currently building and fleshing some things out and seeing how we're going to bounce off of things. Yes, Madman, there's going to be more cooping going on. Coop's going to be cooping in the R&B realm some, and in the sports realm, and getting behind the scenes with some artists like I've already been doing. We got some exciting stuff coming for the top of the year. So roll with the winners.
2023 is about to be crazy. We're going to holler at y'all Friday. Absol's dropping. I think something else is dropping, but.
Yeah, Leroy is right. It was a field trip on Patreon. I took niggas around the city on Monday.
All right, we're going to holler at y'all. Appreciate the love.